just Democrats. You also have one of the most conservative Republican senators, Josh Hawley, who says at least please move money around to feed people. Why not consider that?
Because if you deviate from the goal of reopening the entire government, Chuck Schumer and the radicals over there will continue to play games with people's paychecks, their livelihoods. And if you do just part of this, it will reduce the pressure for them to do all of it, to do their basic job, and that is reopen the government.
That was House Speaker Mike Johnson yesterday, weighing in on the ongoing government shutdown. A reminder that Johnson sent House lawmakers home more than a month ago with no set return date. This as the Senate has adjourned until Monday. It comes as American military members won't miss a paycheck amid this shutdown, as the White House now says it will tap into 3 separate funding sources to get those troops paid. The Office of Management and Budget says the administration will cover $5.3 billion in military pay, in part by utilizing more than $2 billion from the tax cut and spending bill that was signed into law in July. Another $1.4 billion will come from the Research and Development account at the Pentagon, plus another $1.4 billion from the Department of Defense's procurement account. The New York Times reported billionaire Trump supporter Timothy Mellon also donated $130 million to help cover the costs of military pay during this shutdown. That amount, of course, covers just a small part of the Pentagon's troop pay budget. It's the backdrop to the story we've been talking about all week, and we will talk about with our panel now. Rebecca Piercy, she's the former political director for the Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts, that presidential campaign. Also with us, Mark Bednar. He was head of communications for former Republican Speaker Kevin McCarthy. I used to bug him a lot when he was on the Hill. I'm glad that both of you are here because I think you span the political and the Congress so well. I think the biggest question that I've been asking senators all week, and I'll go to you first on this, Rebecca, is just what does it mean that SNAP benefits, people's basic ability to put food in the mouths of themselves and their families, has now become the latest political pressure point? What does that say?
It feels really awful. And I will say, you know, the choices that parents are having to make at this point is which meal are they going to miss, and how are the preschool teachers going to tell the kids they can't come back on Monday because Head Start relies on federal funding. So this is going to have a ripple effect across the country. I think that one of the things we need to realize is these people are across the country. They're in red states, they're in blue states, and that will have a major impact on the way that they are able to live.
But senators aren't moving their votes.
It's incredible to me that I'm glad we're paying troops, but it's incredible to me that the USDA declared on September 30th that there would be money for SNAP no matter how long the shutdown went. And we are now seeing that taken down off of Trump's website and the USDA website saying, like, no, we can't actually do it. And hearing Speaker Mike Johnson say we can't afford to pay people who are on SNAP or who go to Head Start, it just feels kind of gross. Yeah. And so if we are prioritizing a lot of other things that are not feeding our hungry and our poor working families and deciding that early education is not a priority, it makes me wonder, like, who are we as a country? And is this who we have always been? It's never gotten to this point where SNAP is not funded during a shutdown.
Yeah, and I think that is sort of yet another dire impact of this. But I also hear from the folks who know the Hill so well, and you hear this from leadership, you know what it's like to be in those rooms, that this is a leverage point where it does force people potentially to come to the negotiating table. I mean, is that why it's not moving votes? So that people outside of Washington can understand how these folks are thinking.
Well, the simplest way to address every single one of those spending priorities is to vote to reopen the government. And the Speaker knows that, the President knows that, John Thune knows that. And so, we're going to see a couple more days, probably another week or so of the shutdown. I talked to a senior Senate Republican last night. They're pretty confident about the fact that there's more chatter going on between individual rank-and-file senators on both sides.
Yeah.
But we probably have to get through the election next week. I think Democrats want the record for the longest shutdown. And then they also want to kind of alleviate all those problems. Their own staff, they're going to start missing their paychecks, too.
I don't get the sense that there's a desire to make history on this, but I do understand, and Rebecca knows this so well.
We'll get there.
I do think we're going to get there. I don't think anyone wanted to overtly get there, but at the same time, there's always been a clamoring in the Democratic base to show that they have fight. I think the question that I have for you is, yes, I hear the same chatter about rank-and-file talks picking up. Obviously not enough for them to stay over the weekend, but yeah, I'm hearing the same thing about maybe middle of next week. But then the president throws in that he wants Republicans to get rid of the filibuster. And I think that sort of tanks the whole equation again, right? I mean, what's the impact of that?
No, I think there's kind of two elements to it that are pretty interesting. One, this shows that he's now fully re-engaged into this process. And to me, this is a very similar arc, similar timeline to One Big Beautiful Bill, where House passes the bill, throws it to the Senate. The president went on basically a huge foreign policy set within that month of May and June. G7, NATO, the Iran strikes. And then he comes back and then he seals the deal. He gets the job done. Here, he's obviously had major impacts in the Middle East and in Asia. Now the fact that he's back, he can redirect his focus here. And, we even saw yesterday Vice President Vance and Secretary Duffy having really salient conversation about, what's going to happen to air traffic controllers here. So now I think you see a coalescing of attention back from the administration onto this issue.
The thing that I've been thinking about with the filibuster is I did have a few progressive Democrats in the House say to me that they sort of wanted the filibuster to be nuked right now because there's long been this idea in Democratic circles that it should be gone and it's a relic of the past. Obviously, that was a big debate during the Biden era, and Manchin and Sinema regularly stood up and said, no, we can't get rid of the filibuster. What do you think the Democrats are thinking, looking at the way the president is now saying they should do this? Like, are they happy? Are they sad? I think it's probably a mixed bag.
Nobody's happy, is what I will say. Nobody on the Hill is happy at this point. I think Democrats are wondering, like, who is here to negotiate with me? Because if John Thune is not going to let a Josh Hawley bill on the floor to vote to fund SNAP at this point, who's here? Mike Johnson is not here. Donald Trump has been in Asia. There's nobody to negotiate with. So I think even saying, like, let's get rid of the filibuster, who are we saying that to? Who's going to say yes to it if there's nobody actually in Congress ready to come to the table and do the work? I really do think it is going to be something as dire as, like, air traffic control coming to a total halt across the country that really brings people back to the table. And that's a shame, because it shouldn't be air traffic control. It should be something as simple as SNAP and Head Start and making sure that people are getting the benefits that they so desperately need.
Yeah, I mean, I will say senators yesterday had a lot of their flights canceled and delayed because of this. But what were you going to say?
1.2, President Trump's, I don't know if this is coming down the pike, but just an idea, it's possible. Throw out a reconciliation bill. It's usually not for go around Democrats and then have appropriators. Appropriations process, it's the vegetable of Congress. It's healthy and good for you, but do they always get to it? No. But there's an opportunity with the reconciliation bill where you're basically not using the filibuster, you're circumventing it. Highly unlikely, but that is a route should Republicans want to actually dispose of Democrat votes in this process.
Ultimately, do you think that Republicans are feeling like they're coming out on top in this? Because the polling shows the exact opposite.
I think the fact that the president is back, that he is stateside now, and that he's going to be, he has the opportunity to engage. Between if he can negotiate trade deals with President Xi, I think he's going to be able to be the closer in the room here, too.
I do think the trade deal with President Xi has yet to be signed. So if that's a precursor for the shutdown, we might be here for a
know about it? Like, what are we doing here?
If you listen to the Chinese readout, yeah, it might not be as clear-cut as that. But I do think that both sides actually agree on this point, that the president will be the linchpin if and when he decides to actually put forward his position. I think the fact that his position right now is nuke the filibuster shows that he just wants Republicans to do this within their own party without bringing Democrats in.
You can do that with reconciliation without having to touch the filibuster.
Which similarly would be a partisan process, only Republicans. Yes. Both of you, I thank you for coming on, for bringing your perspective, for helping us tee up what this might look like coming up. I don't know. Rebecca Piercy and Mark Bednar, thank you both for joining us. But stay, because I told you we do this. Earlier in the show, we asked you, the viewers, why are you awake? Beth emails, I'm up way too early making chicken and waffles for her nursing staff for Halloween. That actually sounds like a very yummy way to start the day.
Where's ours, Allie?
Yeah, where is ours? Please send to us, Beth. Sean sends along this photo and writes, I'm up way too early worrying about costumes for our party tonight, but our dog Ziggy is set. What a cute lion. Oh, this is what I was hoping the viewers would bring on this Halloween morning.
That's great.
It's great. It's so good. And Emily shares this picture and says she's up way too early because Dudley is ready to bark at every trick and especially every treat. That's perfect. Another good dog.
Perfect Halloween.
What a perfect Halloween. We did get a Pope puppy yesterday. One of our guests called him his furriness, and I think that was the one to beat.
That's
and those are that's the winner right now. But those were pretty good contestants, I have to say. I love that this is like a subplot to Way Too Early. Guys, thank you so much for coming.